Hello everybody, my name is ConCon, and today we're going to be doing a tips and tricks for new players, everything that I've discovered in the game that will help you just understanding how you can use your echoes and more. For the very first tip, I'm going to show you a camera control. When you hold down the right joystick, you can actually see a top-down view so that you can see if anything is hiding in different places, or just to make sure you're aligned correctly when you're climbing or jumping across things. It's a different perspective to give you. The next tip is for early game climbing. Now you can see this wall in front of me is incredibly high. We can move our right stick to see everything. That is a very high wall. You're probably not going to be able to get up there. Now there is an echo called Crawtula, this one right over here. It can be found very early on in the game, just right over here, in this area here. You can find a bunch of them in this location. And what you have to do is you summon one in front of you, then you hold your left trigger and then press X, and essentially it will climb a wall that it's near, and you just have to hold the R key to go ahead and follow it. So it will just climb the wall all the way to the top, just like this, and then you just let go and you're done. And that's how you can climb very high places very easily. My next tip is great for early game. It's the crow. The crow has a very nifty feature that when it attacks enemies, it will make them burst into rupees. Sometimes good rupees, sometimes just the default one. But compared to how many enemies you can take on, this can be incredibly helpful to, farm money very early on in the game. You can just see like money flying off of all of these dudes over here, and plus they do a ton of damage. Now initially they will cost 2 triangles, so not super expensive. And you can get these right over here in the Gerudo Desert very early on in the game as well. They're at this location here. You just have to defeat one to learn it. They will also go ahead and fly and pick up any lost rupees in the distance, apart from also attacking enemies. So use this as a great way to attack things, as well as to just get free money out of it consistently the entire time. A cool little thing with crows as well is that you can use them for flying. If you summon one, immediately go ahead and grab on it and use the follow mechanic. You can use them to fly you high and around places to, make new maneuvers. Now, this is just one step of a cool trick that you can also do, and this will require meat. You can find meat very early on in the game. It's going to be in this house specifically over here in the southern village. So in this building, you can learn the meat. Learn the meat. Most animals will actually be attracted to the meat and try to eat it. It's also a cool way to distract monsters and stuff. If we go ahead and we place our meat over there, we select our crow and we place it on the opposite. We then select our crow and replace it on the opposite side and immediately go ahead and grab it. We can lift the meat in the direction that we want the crow to follow. You can see the crow will always face the meat, right? So whichever way you want, you just don't want the crow to get too close because it will start eating the meat. What you got to do is then go ahead and lift the meat. You'll see the crow immediately follows it. Now that you have the meat lifted, you just have to hold the R key, which no longer tells you to at the bottom of the screen, which allows you to follow the trajectory of the crow. So boom, as soon as I touch this, you will see the crow will fly towards the meat indefinitely until you hit something. Once you hit something, it's going to basically just eat the meat until it falls. Another bird that can do this is the Guay bird. This one's actually better for flying because it flies in a straight line, whereas the crow flies directly upwards. You can find the Guay bird in this location right over here on the map. So we're going to place our meat on our right-hand side, the direction that we want to go, and we're going to place Guay bird on the left, and we immediately have to select it with our left trigger and then press X to grab it. So like this, now that you've got it stuck here, that's all you hold. You pick up your meat like this. It can't reach it, it can't eat it, and now you just hold R and you will just fly off in the direction that it's facing at a very good speed, and once it reaches a certain height, it should stay, going slowly upwards instead of the crow. The crow just goes very high, very quick. You can see with this mechanic, you can practically fly over the entire map, but once you get too high, you will see the clouds will start to get white, the screen gets white, and once the screen gets white, it will kind of like just respawn you somewhere else. It counts as a fail. So if you just let go R for a split second, you can change the trajectory of your flight so that you fly a little bit downwards instead of upwards. Now, speaking of flying, you can use various flying animals that you can hold, much like the Keese, for example. The Keese, this one right over here, that you get early on in the game, it can basically be used as a flight mechanic. So if you go ahead and you jump off something high enough, you'll immediately go into a glide mode. Now, it isn't permanent. It does fall down after some time. You can see here, this is practically how long it lasts. Essentially, it is a great way to travel off of like the mountains of the Elden area at the top left of the map. Look how high we are. You can also ride wind. There are wind tunnels that you can go ahead and ride. That will make your character float up while you're using this flight mechanic. Now let's talk about jumping. There are multiple ways to increase how high you jump in the game. By default, you'll see here, that you can't jump this. You jump like half of this height. But if you want to immediately jump it, you can always go into Link form, who jumps double your height to make that same jump. That is one tip. Alternatively, you can also equip the frog ring. The frog ring is an item that is going to enable you to jump higher, which means now when I'm wearing this ring, I can jump and make that same jump that Link can do, but in my Zelda form. Unfortunately, the frog ring can only be done once you do the Hyrule Castle Rift. You will find it within the Rift area, so you'll have to progress through this in order to get this ring. But while you are wearing this ring, even Link gets an increase to his jump as well. So you can see I've put this bed here to show you that this is 1 block plus a bed high, and if I use Link form, you can see Link can jump the entire distance now. So Link jumps even higher. I think, in fact, I can probably jump straight onto this tree. Nice. Early on in the game, one of the best attacking echoes you can get is the P-Hat. The P-Hat, as weird as it sounds, is great because it does spinning attacks. So if you go ahead and use it against enemies, it will spin, it will cut grass, and it will damage enemies as it spins into them. You can see here it's just going to chase this guy down and just spin into him until he dies. Very easy, very nice creature to use. It will cost 3 triangles to use. And you can find them in this area at the southern area of the map. You'll find, I think, 1 around here. Another great echo that's great to use early game is the Wolfos. Wolfos is a very fun one. It's also a 3-star echo. And you'll see if I go ahead and I use it against itself here, the reason why it's so good is because it attacks and maneuvers so fast. But you can see here, when I put down the wolf in combat here, you can see how quickly it moves. It moves and runs before enemies can even attack it, and it charges back into attacks very fast. It is one of my favorites for attacking because it will clean up house faster than any other NPC can move, because the others always move so slowly. Now you can find the Wolfos in this area right over here in Hyrule Field at the top right. So at this location, you can find a Wolfos. If you are struggling to defeat it, I recommend using the sea urchin and just protecting yourself like this, because as it tries to rush and attack you, you can just let it fly into this and it will get damaged by itself as you stay safe behind it. Another tip for gaining some height using beds is that when you build a bed bridge and you go like this, you can actually go like this and build it this way too, so that you build a bed tower like this. So building beds in this formation is a great way to also get up somewhere quite quickly. In the game, there is a great fairy, and this great fairy has, well, 2 purposes. First off, you can get 2 fairies at this location. This is going to be located here in Lake Hylia. At this location right here, you can find the Great Fairy Shrine. When you go inside here, you'll be able to get 2 fairies, one on the left, provided you have the fairy bottles, and there is another fairy on the right-hand side so that you can stock up on fairies before doing, one of the temples or the rifts, the major ones. You can also go ahead and speak to the fairy, and you can spend up to 1,900 rupees to unlock accessory slots. You can see currently I have 5 unlocked, and these will each give you different bonuses as you collect these accessories or buy them through the shops in the game. Let's say you take a ton of damage in the game and you're at very, very low hearts, like I am right now for sake. There are multiple ways to heal up your hearts. The first and most simple probably is by having a drink to make a smoothie to heal up, your hearts by the amount that smoothie heals. Alternatively, you can always use a bed. Placing a bed and resting it will rest half an HP. And if you stand up and you immediately sit back down again, you can repeat this process and slowly regen your health. Overall, the best way is by actually going up to the Elden Volcano at the top left of the map, and you see any of these green looking pools, these over here, you can find them all around here. It's probably best to warp to this one over here at the top left. And if you move while spinning, you can actually run very, very quick. And if you just sit in this water for a little bit, you will see that you will recover an entire heart for like every 2 seconds or so. It's not that long. You just wait here for 10, 15 seconds, and you should have max HP before you go ahead and do something else. So make sure you have this warp point unlocked here so that you can heal yourself to max before you continue on with anything else. I can warp it back to what I was doing and have full HP this time. My last tip before I leave you is how to gain a little bit of height and fly over something. It's going to require 4 hearts. You're going to use the Plat Boom, which, in case you don't have it, is located in the Gerudo Desert in this cave right over here. If you go in this cave and you complete it, you can find the Plat Boom right there. When you go ahead and you place this and you jump on it, you'll see even in the overworld, it does fly up like this. It does reach a limit. I think it's about 5, maybe 6 blocks high. If we go ahead and we summon a Keese and you hold this Keese, you can actually use this as a free gliding over method. So if you have to cross a river or a fire or something, you can place this Blight Boom and just glide over whatever you're trying to glide over in a very simple way, instead of having to build like 4 beds or making water bridges like I've been doing for all my videos. And that's everything you need to know. I hope you guys enjoyed. Share any of your tips down in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. Whee!